that people have and the way they use or misuse their wealth will be judged by God. May it never be that we sit around considering ourselves, oh boy, if I just had $1 million. Why would we even sit around and think that way? But this does lead to an important question. And I realize that I have a different temperature setting than most of you all. So I'm going to take that off. This leads to an important question. And it is the question about the nature of wealth and what it means to be rich. Does the Bible teach that every wealthy person is bound for judgment and that it is impossible for the wealthy person to be saved? Well, certainly this argument has been made in the past, and if you were to study church history, you would know that certain movements have been started on that idea. Whole movements have been dedicated to the idea of what is called monasticism. Monastery living. Living as a monk. Can't have anything. Can't own anything. You give up everything. But I would argue that that is not the biblical model for every person. In the New Testament, we see commands for both the employer and the employee. For the landowner and for the land worker. For the master of the house and for the master's servant. We see the commands in Scripture given to those who have a lot and those who have a little. And both of them are called to godliness with what they have, whatever the amount may be. In fact, Ephesians 6 and verse 9, the Apostle Paul says this. He says, and you masters, do the same things to them. And in that he's referring to, do good to your servants. Giving up threatening, knowing that your own master also is in heaven, and there is no partiality with him. Who is he speaking to? He's speaking to someone who has enough to be able to hire servants. So there he is speaking to someone who has wealth. Colossians chapter 4 and verse 1. Masters, give your bondservants what is just and fair, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. Again, he speaks to them and he says, look, God has entrusted you. He has made you a steward, a manager, a master over other people. As an employer, you as an employer have a responsibility. We could not have all been called to be destitute, because there is a relationship where some people are called to be Christian businessmen. And guess what? You can't be a Christian businessman if you don't have any money. Well, I guess you could. You're not going to last long as a Christian businessman if you don't have money. It's not wealth. It is the misuse of wealth that is the danger. 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 17 says, as for the rich in this present age. And somebody says, oh, he's talking about spiritually rich. No, he's not talking about spiritually rich, because he says this. He says, as for the rich in this present age, charge them not to be haughty, nor to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches. So it's not spiritual riches, it's money, it's wealth. But on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. They are to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, thus storing up treasure for themselves as a good foundation for their future, so that they may take hold of that which is truly life. Right there, he says, listen, if you've got money, handle it well. If you've got money, if you have wealth, handle it responsibly. Thus, in a sense, we must understand it is not wealth that James is rebuking. It is not all wealthy persons indiscriminately that he is saying, woe to you, weep and howl, for judgment is falling upon you. This would be impossible, because wealthiness is subjective. You know what that means when I say it's subjective? That means wealthiness is only really wealthiness is when you're around people who are poorer than you. I'll give you an example. A poor American would be a lot better off than a rich Sudanese. Most likely. I have friends who think I make a ton of money. I'm sorry. I feel real sad for my friends. And then I have friends who wonder how I can make it. You see what I'm saying? Wealth is subjective, right? So it's not an issue of wealth by itself. It's an issue of dealing well with what you are made a steward over. You see, the man with 5 seeds is rich to the man with 2. We must understand there is a specific group that James is addressing. There is a specific group that James is calling down condemnation upon. It is the wicked rich. The person who has been greedy with what they have, no matter how much it is. The person who has been indulgent with what they have, no matter how much it is. The person who has been underhanded in their accumulation of their wealth, no matter how much it is. And his message is simple. It is the misuse of wealth that is the danger. And judgment will befall like an anvil on the heads of those who misuse their wealth. So I want to examine this passage in 3 parts. I want to look at 3 ways that James tells us that wealth can be misused and the judgment that befalls. So let's look at the first part, and the notes are on the back of your worship folder if you'd like to take a look at the outline. It'll give you an idea how quick I'm going to be done, because I know there's a lot of food in there and you guys are really excited about the food, so you'll know where I'm at. Now everybody's pulling out their papers. Number 1, wealth is misused when it is hoarded selfishly. Look at verse 1. James says, "Come now, listen up, you rich. Weep and howl for the miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted. Your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have corroded, and their corrosion will be evidenced against you and will eat your flesh like fire. You have laid up treasure in the last days." Now, let me kind of unpack that for you, because we read a couple of verses there. Let me just, real quick. In the ancient world, the primary way somebody was wealthy was in land and home. But the secondary way someone was considered to be wealthy was actually 3 ways: foodstuffs, clothing, and precious metals. That was the secondary way. You could tell if somebody was rich if somebody had fine clothing, if someone had fine food, and someone had fine jewelry or fine precious metals. And here we see James attacks each one of these individually. He says, your riches have rotted. This is indicating the foodstuffs. You have hoarded it to the point that it is no good. You have put it up for yourself. And now it is rotting. Your clothing, you have so much clothing. Your clothing is so opulent and there's so much of it that you folded it, put it away, and now it is moth-eaten. Your precious metals have deteriorated. They've rusted. They've gone away. And all of these are examples of what happens when we hoard things. And have you ever met a person who hoards stuff? I don't mean, they keep a trinket because their grandson gave it to them or their granddaughter gave it to them. I mean, you go to their house and everything is just packed away and it literally is dying on the shelf. The papers are just becoming unreadable because they're just being hoarded and being put away. Wealth that is hoarded selfishly ultimately becomes worthless, even to the person who has it. It's a natural deterioration process that just renders it worthless. The only thing it will be able to do is serve as a witness in the judgment against these people. Now, the common question when I talk